Hi, Carl DiStefano here. Well, I've got a great song here that I was completely unaware of and only learned of recently because my good buddy and fellow guitarist Bart Kubrick in Salt Lake City sent it to me. And I was quite taken by it. And so I wanted to learn it. So I learned that it was written in 1931 by Richard A. Whiting and Harry Akst. That's A-K-S-T, unusual name, with lyrics by the great Gus Kahn. And popular recordings that year were by Ruth Etting, Wayne King, and Russ Columbo. And the song was later popularized by Margaret Whiting in 1946, where it reached number 4 on the Billboard charts, and by Johnny Desmond, where it reached number 12. I liked an early recording made by British singer Al Bowley in 1931 with the Ray Fox Orchestra. The song went on to become a bit of a jazz standard, with secondhand songs showing 59 recorded versions. And those included some jazz greats, Bing Crosby, Mel Torme, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, and Lena Sikali. And there were some other lesser known artists, or at least I didn't know of them, who I thought did some really nice interpretations of this song. And I'll list 3 of those: the Pasadena Roof Orchestra, the Stolen Sweets, and the Boilermaker Jazz Band. Those are all worth checking out. If you go to the Secondhand Songs website and look at and type in the name of that song, you will see a list of all the recorded versions, and with links to if there are performances available or recordings available on YouTube or Spotify, or I think there's a couple of other platforms. You can just go right to those links if they're available. Before I pick up my guitar, I'd like to mention one thing about the chord changes. So the way I learned songs, and I didn't know this song, so I rarely look at any sheet music or fake books or anything like that. I just go listen to a number of different recordings, by different jazz singers or jazz musicians, and or sometimes popular singers, and just to get a feeling for what's everybody doing with this song. And I just listen and get ideas like that, and pick the ideas I like the best. I add my own ideas quite often, and just kind of put everything together. I call that the best of all worlds, and that's how I do that. And I did that with this song, and I tended to favor some of the more recent interpretations of it. And what I heard them playing in the opening 2 measures of the A sections was a chromatic chord progression that had diminished chords, in between the other chords. And I liked that. It was kind of more subtle, and I'm not. I think the earlier recordings probably had the chord progressions that the composer wrote. And so I made a rough take of it, rough video, and I sent it to Bart. And I thought, boy, I'm going to really impress Bart with this. Well, he listened to it, and he sent me back a note. He said that he liked his chord progressions better. I said, oh, what? So I better take another listen. And I played it both ways, and the more I did, the more I liked Bart's chord progressions, which were, I believe, what was written. Okay, and I think they made a stronger statement, and the more I played them, the more I liked them. But I didn't want to give up those other progressions. I wasn't quite ready to, give them up. So I actually have a mixture. So in my video, you'll see that I I worked up an instrumental introduction. So in that, I use the chromatic progression, so the diminished chords. There I get a chance to do that, okay? But then in the opening statement of the song where I sing it, I use Bart's chords for the first A section, and really Bart's chords again for the second A section with a little variation with a bass line run. And then in the last A section, I go back to the chromatic progression, but I do a variation on that where you'll see it, hear it, where I just run it up in half tones, so I get to use all of the chord progressions. Maybe there's some others that I don't know about. Anyway, thanks again to Bart for putting me onto this wonderful song, and thanks for listening to this long story. Okay, here we go with Guilty. Guilty of Loving You. Is it a sin? Is it a crime? Loving you, dear, like I do. If it's a crime, then I'm guilty. Guilty of loving you. Maybe I'm wrong, dreaming of you, dreaming the lonely night through. If it's a crime, then I'm guilty. Guilty of dreaming of you. What can I do? What can I say after I've taken the blame? You say you're through, you'll go your way, but I'll always feel just the same. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, loving you, dear, like I do. If it's a crime, then I'm guilty. Guilty of loving you. What a great tune. Guilty of Loving You. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for tuning in.